Hello and welcome to another tip on Power BI, brought to you by Excel Champ and Intellisoft Systems. Hi, my name is Vinai Prakash. In today's tip number 8, I want to share with you how to create a data model within Power BI when the data is coming straight from Excel. We will be loading multiple Excel sheets here and then see how to create the data model. So it is a pretty simple and straightforward process and most common because most of the time your data will be in some kind of Excel files. So in this lesson we will see how to quickly import your data from Excel into Power BI, and then once the data model is created we can start to visualize the data and look at it in the different charts and slice it easily. So let's get started. To begin, I will show you how the data looks in Excel. So to open the file, it's called AdventureWorks. This is the sample database that Microsoft has provided. It's called AdventureWorks. And here we can see that we have multiple sheets: sales, territory, products, customers, and calendar. So on the calendar, we can have a quick look. We have the ID, the date, the day number of the week, all the dates, as well as the year, quarter, and the fiscal year, fiscal quarter, fiscal period, etc. Then we have customers here with the customer key, geography key, their name, marital status, income, occupation, etc. Products is all the products with the product key and the description, the category, the color, price, etc. Territory are the region, country, and the groups, that hierarchy of how the different territories are distributed in our company. Finally, there's sales table, which is the fact table, the real transactional table. In fact, all the other four tables are really like master data. We don't add into the products table on a daily basis, only whenever we add a new product. Calendar is hardly updated every time we have a new year, and generally I would load it for the next 10 years in one time. So we only have new customers coming in and new sales orders coming in all the time. But most of the time, the territory, products, customer, and calendar can be considered as master data, and sales will be the transaction. So here, one row cannot be figured out. So in here, you cannot make sense of this data without doing lookups on other master data tables. For example, product ID 528. Well, we don't know what this is unless we look it up into the products table. We know the order date, we know the customer key, who is the customer. We need to connect this to the customer table. We have the order, we have the territory 4, we need to look it up, and then only we will be able to know whether 4 is North America or whether it is the Southwest region. Then we have the transactional data, the order quantity sold, the price, the cost, etc. etc. So this is the data that we want to bring in and analyze. If I wanted to do a pivot table in Excel, I will have to first merge all these 5 tables into one, and I'll have to write multiple VLOOKUPs from the sales table to the master data tables and grab the looked up values. So this alone will take me considerable time. Well, bringing this data into Power BI will simplify the work without having to build any VLOOKUPs, and we should be able to get started pretty quickly. Let's see how this goes. So I'm going to close this file and straight away go into Power BI, where we will see how to bring in this data. So in Power BI, we have the Excel icon on the home button, get data from Excel. Once I open, straight away the AdventureWorks Excel file, I can pick it up. Power BI will make the connection, and once this is done, it will show you everything that was found in the AdventureWorks Excel file. So from the look of it, you can see that there were 5 worksheets. These are denoted by the symbol with the small tab sticking at the bottom of the icon. So these 5 were the sheets, and actually the data on the 5 sheets was inside tables. So these tables have been called calendar 1, customer 2, product 3 because the name of the table and the name of the sheet were exactly the same. So if you wanted to import the tables, that's fine. And if you wanted to bring in the sheets, that's also okay. I know for sure that the sheet doesn't contain anything else, so we are safe in bringing the data directly from the sheets. If we bring in from the uh, tables, then we need to rename the queries back because the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be sticking at the back. So the sheet names look fine, and since we have verified the data which is already looking good, we can go to each table and have a quick look. If it looks good, then we are good to go, and we will be able to load the data. But generally, it's a best practice to check the data using transform data first. So this will launch Power Query. As you can see, parallel processing, all the different sheets from the Excel file were read, and now within Power Query Editor, Microsoft has created the 5 queries for us. By the look of it, on the territory, we can see this is a numeric and text column, text column, text. So pretty much looks good. I'll go and have a quick look at the calendar, and we can see that our date has been recognized correctly as a date. There's no mismatch. The quality of the data looks pretty good. So there are no issues. We go to customer, and again I can see the green line which indicates that there are no errors. All the data types have been picked up correctly, and certain things, if you spot anything wrong, we can fix it. For now, it looks good. Quick look at the products, and finally look at the sales. Yes, the date is a date, the key is a key, and almost everything is correctly loaded. So we are good to go. We can simply say close and apply. If you click close and apply, straight away the data will be loaded into Power BI and the transformations will be done. So straight away now we can see we are applying the query changes and the data is gonna come into Power BI. We just have to wait a few seconds, and once the data is loaded, we can then begin to look at it. So one of the things we can see here is there are some errors. Well, this was unexpected, but now we are going to go and fix it. So when we look at it, we see one of the query contains errors. It's the product table. There are 45 errors. Let's view errors. So now Power Query is being loaded one more time, and we can see error in the products table. So once we go, we can see that the size is having a problem. Why is that? Well, because uh, when we look at the error, we'll realize that the size is L. It couldn't be converted to a number. All right, so we go back into the products query, and then we look at the size. As we can see, Excel is unable to detect the size because some of them the numbers like 44, 46, 38, 40. But along the way, when the new data is loaded, you will realize that some of them are nulls and other values are, by the quick look of it, we can see this is only numeric data, but then because we saw L, M, the large, the medium, therefore we are going to change the data type from 1 to 3, which is number, to text. Once we do this, then it shouldn't have any more problem. Let's replace. And now we will try to do a close and apply one more time. This time only the products table gets loaded successfully, no issues. And now if we were to go to the data tab, we can look and see whether everything came out correctly. Seems good. We have the customers, products, and now that the entire data is loaded, we should be able to look at the size. So as we can see, size can be null, blanks, and we have L, M, S, XL, etc. That was the problem, because Excel was thinking based on the sample data that it was a numeric. So in the numeric thing, when the L came in, which was text, then it created a type mismatch error. Well, now everything looks good. So now we will head to the data model. Now let's increase the space by reducing the size of all these windows slightly so that we will have more room. And as we can see, the tables are pretty much quite far apart, and then it's difficult to navigate. So one quick tip, if you go to the bottom right hand corner, you'll see this small icon called Fit to Screen. Clicking on it will bring everything on one screen. Then it's easy for us to bring our key master data tables onto the top and bring them closer. And we can bring our transaction table at the bottom and increase the size if it is not that long, so that we can see all the columns as much as possible. Yeah. Okay, so looks good, and we can see that now doing the auto fit, improves the size and the data becomes more readable. Well, from the looks of this, we can see that some of the tables, the customer, the product, and the sales, they have found the relationships because the customer key is the common column. And once we mouse over the line joining the two tables, we can see that one customer can have multiple sales orders. This is denoted by the one to many relationship. Similarly, one product can appear in multiple sales orders. But look what, the calendar table is not related to the sales table. Well, how can that be? We do have the order date. The problem is that the column name is not exactly the same. So in this case, we could take the date and then join it with the order date in the sales table. This will create a join, which we can see it looks correct by doing a mouse over. And finally, in the territory, we can see that we have the territory key, but because on the sales table is called sales territory key, this also did not work out. Now, generally, you can drag the relationship from any of the tables to the other table, and Power BI is smart enough to detect what kind of relationship it should be. So this time I try to drag it from the many side to the one side, but as we can see that Power BI picked up the relationship correctly, that it's a one to many sales orders. One territory has many sales orders. Well, that's it. All the tables have been joined, and this looks like a pretty nice data model. So once this is done, we should be able to go back to our visualizations and start creating reports. So all we need to do is to either create a matrix or a column chart and then start to visualize the information by opening the different columns. For example, let's look at the quantity sold. So we look at order quantity and I like to see it by the different years. So we can pick the calendar year or the fiscal year, and of course being numeric columns, they go into the wrong places many a time. Well, we can drag them and we can see that 2004 was a blockbuster year. Now we can also visualize the data by just simply clicking on the matrix, and now we can see the data based on the matrix. So now pretty easy, we can look at the data. Only thing is that the size looks pretty small, which we can go into and increase the font size of the different text. So just by searching on size, we can see the text size. We increase it to be able to read it clearly. But if we go back to our line chart or column chart, the thing will be changed. However, if we come back to a matrix again, you notice that the formatting is retained. We get the same size of the text. Well, it is generally easier to bring in data from Excel, especially if your data is clean. So in this example, it was pretty straightforward. We just had data in multiple sheets. We just had to come into Power BI, click on Get the data from Excel, pick up the Excel file, and once the Excel file is read, we can then denote which tables or sheets we want to load. We can look at the transformation, and if the data type and all the things look good, we can then do a close and load. So pretty simple, straightforward. Once the data comes into Power BI, we look at the data model and see that all the relationships are correctly identified. If they are not, we can change them. So I do hope you found this lesson pretty easy to bring in the data. Using this, go ahead and try to bring in your data. Then begin to create the data model and visualize it. Slice it, dice it, enjoy. Thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe our channel, and God bless. All the best.